been used before. That was basically a foot trail. Now, as you guys can see, that's within the last 24 hours, some of the trails on that, or impressions on that wash. Vehicle wash has always been pretty hot for both vehicle and foot traffic. We're getting backpackers as far north of I-80. What we're going to show you right now is a staging location for them. You're looking for these thickets, like those trees right over there. And I'll show you some impressions here in the dirt where they unpackage the dope from the backpacks and they bring them and they stage them in the bushes. As soon as the vehicle drives up, they offload them into the vehicles. But this is BLM does a pretty good job of trying to clean up all this trash. But what you're going to see right now is up and down this freeway. So.
And this spot that we're showing you, where our officer was shot, and then a week after he was shot, right? We went back in. We went in. And we found already a new spotter camp set up, 7.62 rounds, binos. They had cell phone chargers, and they're ingenious. They have cell phone chargers set up with solar panels, so they'll get on these peaks, set up solar panels, set up a bank of batteries, and they'll start their own charging system so they can run cell phones off of it, they can run their radios off of it, they can recharge everything on the top of these mountains, so they don't have to come off of their LPOPs. They can just stay up there and operate until
LPOP. It's an observation point.
Yeah. Same thing we heard at Fort Machuca.
Yep. I've actually picked up a crew out of this same area within the last 24 hours.
So that's their backpack straps. Mm-hmm. So this will be strapped to the dope.
Okay.
And they'll burlap sack it, and we've got some burlap sacks, the same type of sack. Mm-hmm. They'll sack those bundles inside of that. Mm-hmm. Then they'll tie it all up with the ropes. They'll put it on just like a normal backpack, and they hike it up from Mexico to here. Mm-hmm. And they cut it all out. Like he said, this is a staging location, so they cut it out of the burlap sacks and stuff because it won't fit into a car trunk in a back seat as big as it is, because it's a pretty good stack.
Mm-hmm. Now we've had the officer wounded, the shooting. We know every mile marker along this stretch there's a layup area back here. Why does Border Patrol not just embed their officers, their resources?
They've tried that. Those spotters will beat you every time. As long as they're out there, they're held up in the brush. As soon as they have to leave or shift change, they're out.
Moving. And with these guys, with the bad guys holding the high points, you know, in any combat, and that's what it is out here, high point wins. So they've got the high points, they call us out. Anytime they see law enforcement in the area, everything shuts down and they just stop activities. They do what is referred to as brushing up. They hide everything in the brush, they hide themselves, they hide vehicles, they get hidden, and then when the bosses give all clear on the radio, when the spotters let the bosses know we're clear to move, everything starts moving again.
I've got a question.
Just don't have the resources. We don't have the officers to station people out here to just take those high points and hold them. We can take them for a day, but the next day when we've got to change shift or we've got to go out to take care of other areas that are problems, they're right back to those high points. And if we take this route, they just move one route over. And if we go take that route, they move back to this route. And it's just an ongoing game. The only way to shut it down really is to flood the area with resources. And I was telling him in the car, we've all worked in the task force, our narcotics task force, and we've pled with Washington saying, hey, we need help. There's this going on out here. We need more money. We've asked them, can you zap their radios? If you could shut their comm down, we could kill them. No, we can't do that. Can you do this? Can you do that? No, we can't do that. And we were actually told at one point, and this is no ding on Border Patrol, it's just what the operating procedures were at the time. We were told, well, if we operate in the Casa Grande corridor, what's referred to as CAG, and we catch a large number of undocumenteds and marijuana loads, then the numbers increase and it shows a problem. If we go to where the traffic isn't, then there's no problem. And so agents were actually operating under those theories at times, and that was from the top, not from the agents want to do the work, but they would tell us our hands are tied. We would have to
deniability. If we're where they're not, then there's not a problem.
Exactly.
Yep. Yeah. It's all a numbers game. It's all stat driven.
Most of this stuff is fresh. Some of it is within the last 24 hours. Yeah. We still have some burritos over there. We've got loaf of bread over there. It's still soft. Within the last 24 hours, they've been in this camp.
These are full.
Yeah. And a lot of times there's none around here. I was looking for some earlier, but they'll take these same blankets, we were talking about it earlier. They'll wrap this 3-4 fold, and they'll take that and they'll tie it to the bottom of their shoe, strings over the top, so that they no longer leave shoe impressions.
We may find some on that trail over there.
Yeah.
The reason this trash is here, you've got sedans that are coming out here and picking up, and it's easier for them to get an individual bundle and throw it into the car and position that bundle so they can get more bundles in here. The bigger the bundle, the harder it is to manipulate in the vehicle. If it's a full-size truck or a full-size van, then they can throw everything without being seen going down the road. But the reason all this trash is here, it's easier for them. We got a lot of vehicles, sedans that are picking up on the edge of the roadway, and it's easier for them to throw them in the trunk, back seat, throw a blanket over them. They can get more bundles in if they take them apart.
And we obviously, there's an increasing number of U.S. citizens that are involved in this, that are scouts on this highway, and that are out here picking this stuff up.
Yes. Yes.
Every hour on the hour.
Yes.
So they've got just as many people on this side as they're sending across.
Correct. We're seeing more U.S. citizens involved in the smuggling in this area.
The guys that are hauling this from I-8 to Phoenix are blind because somebody will come up to them and tell them, okay, I'm going to pay you $500. You take this car to mile post 144 on I-8, you stop, you don't get out, you do whatever they tell you when they get in. Guys will come up, tell them pop your trunk, they pop the trunk, they throw the dope in, a guy will get in with them and tell them to drive. And they're getting paid $500 to do that. These bigger agencies above us that probably have bigger things going on that we don't know about, and some of it has to do with they don't want us messing up investigations that they have going. Some of it has to do with territory. They don't want us outshining them, and it's not about that. It's about stopping these guys, but sometimes it turns into that.
Well, if we were more about territory.
This has never been a competition for Pinal County Sheriff's Office, but there's been years in the past where Pinal County Sheriff's Office was basically running the same numbers that you would have in Nogales, that you would have in Sasabe, that you would have in Douglas, and we're this far north of the border, and our numbers were pretty comparable, and they're fighting the battle there at the front. But our numbers are pretty comparable to their numbers back years ago. 25 agencies were involved in that multi-agency operation. We are working better together. It's not just Pinal County, but we've got bigger agencies that, and look where we're at. We're out in the desert. You don't want to get Maricopa County for the most part. Up till about a year ago, it just didn't exist for them. Now we're seeing more and more Maricopa County deputies out this far. BLM, and they were limited on their manpower. Now they're beefing up these areas, as well as Border Patrol. But Border Patrol now, their priority is up against the border, which is again leaving us to hold our own. And this is I see this getting worse before it gets any better.
80 to 90% of all cases where we're dealing with large-scale marijuana transactions come through this area right here.
And I was explaining to him also in the vehicle that we have, the Sinaloans have always ran Arizona from border to border. Arizona's been theirs, and they're now getting encroachment from both sides, from the Tijuana cartels and from the Gulf cartel out of the east. Those are both starting to encroach in, and they've come across now, and they're starting to squeeze the Sinaloans in. And so this route is pretty much the Sinaloan stronghold, and so they're really willing to fight for this corridor right here.
Yeah, we've heard that folks along the border are on high alert because they're fighting for Nogales, which is sort of the last city to hold to fall for these guys. So
yeah, this is their stronghold. This corridor, if they lose this corridor, then it's everybody's game, and so they're willing to really fight for this.
So this is Sinaloa.
There's a section further south where they would send construction workers from Mexico to actually cut a road, and they started cutting a road through the desert at one point. And who was it? BLM that sent out their guys to stake them out, and finally ended up arresting all these guys. But they were sending actual construction workers with equipment to blaze a road through here.
They just think they own this place.